It's the 30th of April, and this is Race to Power on WION The World is One. Thank you for joining us. I'm Eric Njoka. Today, US President Donald Trump marked his 101st day in office despite rubbishing reports that highlighted his dipping popularity as fake news. The economy in America doesn't look too good either. It has contracted in the first quarter. Also today, the government of India allowed caste enumeration as part of the upcoming national census. We tell you why this shift in political policies is significant for the country. Welcome to the show. Donald Trump's 101st day in office began not so good news on the US economy. The country's Commerce Department released a report revealing that American economy had contracted in the first quarter. Now, according to the report, US gross domestic product decreased at an annual rate of 0.3% in the first quarter, which is January to March. This after the economy registered a 2.4% in the final months of 2024. Experts blame the slowdown on Trump administration's back and forth on reciprocal tariff policies, which triggered waves of reactions from businesses and investors alike. However, moments after the report was released, Trump shared a post on social media platform Truth Social, blaming the Biden administration's ripple effects as a cause behind this slowdown. Trump further remarked that the report's analysis has nothing to do with the tariffs, but instead it has a quote, Biden overhang. The report comes on the heels of falling consumer confidence. In the latest, the Consumer Board survey revealed that American consumers' confidence has hit the lowest since 2011, after Trump sounded the bugle on a global tariff war. Let's now talk to our correspondent Susan Teherani, who's now joining us live from New York. Susan, the latest report does not look good for U.S. economic growth. What can you tell us about this report, and what is the Trump administration saying about this report?
So what they're saying is that the moves that they make now is going to set America for success later. Where that later is, whether or not it's going to be in the next few quarters, in the short term or long term, is yet to be seen. They're also touting the job market and inflation, which seems to be keeping steady, and there is employment growth, notably in the manufacturing sector. America is producing more oil. They're going to point to that and say that energy independence is on the rise. Also, they're talking about another round of tax cuts, which brings in investor and business confidence, and then also pointing to the resiliency of the stock market despite all of this. But ultimately, I think this is not good news for the Trump administration. The way they can possibly turn this around is with the bills that Congress and Senate are due to pass soon, the big, beautiful bill that President Trump talks about. That'll possibly, have a lot of issues that will be addressed that will perhaps calm things down a little bit. But for now, it appears that they're telling the American people to take this report, which, as you mentioned, they call a Biden overhang, with a grain of salt. We'll see.
We'll see indeed. Susan Teherani, it's good to see you. We'll have to leave it there. Thank you. E-commerce giant Amazon has denied reports that it would display the impact of tariffs next to the price of products on its e-commerce site. The statement comes amid reports that the e-commerce giant is mulling to detail the price impact of Trump's trade tariffs to its customers. Amazon has responded to the White House statement, terming it a hostile and political act if it went ahead with a move. In an official statement by Amazon, the company says the suggestion was never approved and is not going to happen. However, Amazon has acknowledged that the team that runs its ultra-low-cost Amazon Hall store did present the idea to detail the price impact of Trump's trade tariffs to its customers. Before Amazon's response, the White House said the e-commerce company's move was not a surprise. White House Secretary Caroline Leavitt cited a 2021 report by Reuters accusing Amazon of partnering with the Chinese propaganda arm.
I will take this since I just got off the phone with the president about Amazon's announcement. This is a hostile and political act by Amazon. Why didn't Amazon do this when the Biden administration hiked inflation to the highest level in 40 years? And I would also add that it's not a surprise because, as Reuters recently wrote, Amazon has partnered with a Chinese propaganda arm.
All right, Stuart S Malawa is a distinguished service professor of law and international trade at George Mason University. Is now joining us live from Virginia, the United States. Stuart, thank you very much for making time for us, and welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I just want to hear from you. What do you think about this confusion between Amazon and the Trump administration going forward?
Well, I don't think it's confusion. It's really unheard of. The hostile act is not by Amazon. The hostile act is by Trump. Mm-hmm. Presidents don't do this type of thing. And Trump has done this previously in other situations. But as to the merits of the situation, really, noting a surcharge on an invoice is a very standard situation. I know I get surcharges on my utility bills, on the bills I get from lawn service people. It's not a hostile act. It's just notifying the consumer of the fees that are being charged.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Stewart, Trump did mark his 101st day in office, but the economy in America doesn't really look that good because it dipped in the first quarter. What does it say about Trump's administration and going forward for America? How does that look for Americans, by the way?
Well, I can tell you the way it looks to me. There's total chaos in the administration. You look at the various agencies, you look at what's happening in the Defense Department. The bottom line is it's really unknown. And in fact, the economy, despite what Trump and his allies have said, is probably one of the worst starts in a presidential administration for the first 100 days than ever. The stock market is at one of the lowest points since, I guess, January. Mm-hmm. So the bottom line is this. We don't know what's going to happen in the next 100 days, but I can tell you it's not going to be good if there's no change in policy in the White House. Mm-hmm. Policy from Trump has been one of revenge, retribution, and you just don't have policy made on that basis. You don't have personal relationships done on that basis. My hope is that there is a change of course. I don't think it's going to come from President Trump. I think it's going to come from litigation against his administration. Congressional action seems to be stepping up. Mm-hmm. And also, by the way, actions by foreign countries. And I think India has a role to play. It's a very major trading country. Mm-hmm. And countries who stand up and for more of a normal political process, recognizing the rule of law and basic trade rules. Mm-hmm. That's the pressure that the administration needs to change course.
All right, Mr. Stuart Malawa, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much for all your insights and for talking to us today.
Thank you.
Now, before the latest news on growing uncertainty around the American economy, U.S. President Donald Trump marked the 100th day of his second term with a fiery campaign-style rally in Michigan. Trump hailed what he called a revolution of common sense, promising profound change. He told supporters, "You haven't seen anything yet."
So thanks to your help, your love, and your support, After 100 days back in the White House, America is a free, proud, and sovereign nation once more, and our magnificent destiny is closer than ever before. It's closer than ever before. You have no idea how close it is. Our golden age has only just begun. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. We will never give in. We will never give up. We will never back down. We will never, ever surrender.
In a wide-ranging speech, he mocked his Democratic predecessor Joe Biden, took aim at Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell, and dismissed his plunging poll numbers as fake. Trump claimed success in his campaign against immigration, stating that illegal border crossings have plummeted from 140,000 to just over 7,000. He also said over 65,000 immigrants have been deported at a slower pace than last year, but still a centerpiece of his tough stance. At one point, he screened a video showing deportees being sent to a mega prison in El Salvador. On the economy, Trump touted falling energy prices, inflation and mortgage rates, even as he faces criticism for rising unemployment and market instability triggered by his global tariff moves.
And in the next fiscal year, it'll all be done. We're going to have something that you won't even believe. We will end inflation, slash prices. We've already ended inflation, raise wages, and give you the greatest economy in the history of the world. That's already happening.
Car manufacturers expressed concern over rising costs, prompting Trump to temporarily ease tariffs on auto imports early in the day. Opinion polls show Trump's approval at 44%, the lowest for any post-World War II president at this stage. But Trump remains popular among Republicans. The Democratic National Committee labeled his first 100 days as a colossal failure, blaming what it called a Trump recession for increased living costs. Trump's Michigan rally shows he remains defiant, mocking Biden's mental fitness, questioning the 2020 election results, and calling himself the real victor. It's not just the US president whose popularity ratings have plummeted. American billionaire and Donald Trump's loyalist Elon Musk has also become increasingly unpopular among Americans. As the Trump administration completes 100 days in office, let's take a look at what the most recent poll numbers say about Elon Musk in his role as the de facto head for Department of Government Efficiency. In a span of 2 months, Elon Musk's popularity has witnessed a steady decline. Between February and April, polls show the Tesla and SpaceX owner has become more unpopular, with 49% Americans in February disapproving his actions of slashing budgets and mass firing federal workers. In the latest poll last week, the disapproval percentage has gone up to 57%. There is negligible change in the number of people who approve of Musk's job at the White House so far. Musk has been under fire for a slew of actions ever since he began his administrative role in January. The billionaire has seen his wealth decline by a whopping $113 billion. The loss has largely been due to a sharp decline in the value of Tesla shares post the presidential inauguration. Elon Musk's actions as a Doge head have been questioned not just by American voters but also by several Republican lawmakers. The billionaire also faces a lawsuit in which Democrat states accuse him of exercising powers without restraint. The case also questions the constitutionality of Musk's role in Trump's administration. However, Elon Musk has reportedly begun to step back from his current responsibility. The SpaceX and Tesla owner has a 130-day limit to his role in the current capacity. Reports indicate that while Musk will not completely step down from his administrative duties, there will be a significant reduction in his powers and influence. King Frederik of Denmark is in Greenland, a semi-autonomous territory long tied to Denmark but now under fresh international spotlight in the wake of the growing U.S. interest in that region. U.S. President Donald Trump has called Greenland vital to U.S. security while expressing his desires to annex the resource-rich island multiple times. Trump has even refused to rule out military action to secure it. Earlier this month, U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance visited a remote U.S. base in the region and criticized Denmark for underinvesting in strategic outposts. The Danish monarch touched down in the island's capital, Nuuk, on Tuesday. Frederik was joined by Greenland's new Prime Minister, Jens Frederik Nielsen, who had earlier visited Copenhagen in a show of strengthening ties. Nielsen told reporters the monarch is well loved in Greenland and that the royal family's commitment to the island is unquestionable.
Well, I've been looking forward to inviting him up here. He is very well liked here, and he has always had a strong affection for Greenland, which I truly appreciate. I always look forward to seeing the king here.
The royal house said King Frederik will also join a traditional kaffemik, a local coffee gathering, to connect with citizens. The king was scheduled to visit Greenland's northernmost military base station. He was also supposed to interact with the dog sled unit that patrols the Arctic frontier, but bad weather forced him to cancel both events. The government of India today allowed caste enumeration as part of the upcoming national census. A caste census marks a potentially huge shift in political policies and takes on what the centre calls politically motivated caste surveys conducted by some state governments. In the past, the union government led by the BJP has been cautious on a caste census. Some saw this holding back as a strategy to avoid upsetting dominant castes within its voter base. Practical and legal challenges have been cited too. Now the BJP gives in to a long-standing opposition demand.
It is well understood that Congress and its Indie alliance partners have used caste census only as a political tool, and to ensure that a social fabric is not disturbed by politics, caste enumeration should be transparently included. I'm emphasizing the word transparently included in the census instead of surveys.
The opposition claims victory as he offers help in designing a caste census template, even as he questions government motives and calls for an implementation timeline.
हम इसको सपोर्ट करते हैं, पूरी तरह सपोर्ट करते हैं, मगर हम टाइमलाइन चाहते हैं, हम जानना चाहते हैं ये कब तक होगा.
A caste census will essentially identify and count the number of people belonging to different caste groups. It goes beyond general population data by specifically noting caste affiliations. There's been no caste census in independent India. The last one happened in 1931. Arguments in favor of a caste census by political parties range from claims of better policy development for targeting of welfare schemes to social justice enabling fair distribution of resources and representation. On the other side, critics have pointed at risks of politicizing caste identities further and fears of deepening caste identities and discrimination. The caste census issue has long caused frictions between several states and the centre. Karnataka held what it called a social and educational survey in 2015. It aimed to collect data on caste, income, education, housing and employment. And the issue has taken fresh momentum in recent months. The data was never officially released by subsequent due to its political sensitivity. The Congress government in Karnataka continues to express intent to release the data. It remains a hot-button issue and a powerful tool in social justice politics in the state. States like Bihar and Tamil Nadu have aggressively pushed for caste census It is central to the OBC and social justice agenda of the RJD and JDU. The Bihar Caste Survey 2023 showed that OBCs and EBCs make up over 60% of the state's population, fueling demands for increased quotas. The political implications of having a caste census run deep, calls for redistribution of power and resources, could lead to a demand for increased OBC reservations. This may even clash with the 50% reservation ceiling set by the Supreme Court. And in the elections, the political landscape in states with large OBC populations may change in a big way. Friedrich Merz will be sworn in as Germany's next chancellor, with the Social Democrats formally approving a coalition deal with Merz's CDU-led bloc.
Today you see a very satisfied General Secretary of the SPD. The membership vote has been successfully concluded. And this gives the SPD strong backing from the base for joining the federal government and thus for assuming responsibility in the interests of the Federal Republic of Germany.
The SPD held an internal vote on the 144-page coalition agreement with over 84% party members backing the Grand Alliance. This paves the way for a CDU-SPD coalition to govern Europe's largest economy. Attention now shifts to who will hold key cabinet posts. The SPD has nominated party core leader Lars Klingbeil as both Vice Chancellor and Finance Minister. Foreign policy will be led by CDU's Johan Wadebhal. A staunch NATO supporter and vocal critic of Vladimir Putin, while the Interior Ministry goes to CDU's, excuse me for that, Alexander Dobrindt. Katerina Reich, a former energy executive and lawmaker, will hold the economy portfolio. Nina Walken, a legal expert, is tipped to lead the health ministry. Friedrich Merz is scheduled to be sworn in as German Chancellor on the 6th of May. He is taking over at a time when Germany faces challenges both at home as well as in the international arena. With the US backpedaling on the NATO, Germany faces increased pressure to boost its defense spending. Navigating the tariff war at the time of rising inflation is also a big challenge. Germany held a general election on February 23rd after the collapse of a three-way coalition led by SPD Chancellor Olaf Scholz last year. A fractured mandate in elections left Merz with the need to forge alliances after he refused to form a government with the far-right AfD. In the electoral battleground down under, Australian voters are already stepping out in large numbers ahead of the main voting day on May 3rd to cast early vote and register for mail ballots. Now, according to reports, over 4 million Australian voters have already cast their ballot. The early voting numbers are much higher than 2022, when 3.2 million Australians cast early vote. In terms of the postal voting, a record 2.6 million people have applied for a ballot paper via mail. Given the rising popularity of early voting, political experts say that parties are taking note of the trend, which is why poll campaigns kicked off early for the election this year. Incumbent Prime Minister Anthony Albanese continues to address rallies in the last few days ahead of the final May 3rd vote.
Network of 87. We do thank you for your time today. We know it's a very busy time, so we wish you well in the election. $50 new Medicare urgent care clinics, adding to the network of 87. We do thank you for your time today. We know it's a very busy.
Bangladesh's Anti-Corruption Commission is moving to issue Interpol arrest warrants against deposed Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. and 7 other family members. With Hasina in exile and her family scattered across 3 countries, the anti-graft agency says it will mount a global pursuit. Hasina and her family faces accusations in a corruption case involving illegal land allocations in Dhaka's diplomatic zone. The Anti-Corruption Commission says it will seek Interpol red notices for Sheikh Hasina and her family. A court has already cleared an Interpol warrant for her daughter, Saima Wazid. A senior World Health Organization official currently posted in India. The ACC says more warrant requests will follow. Hasina fled to India last August after a student-led mass uprising ended her 15-year rule. In a separate move, the International Crimes Tribunal has also issued a warrant against Hasina based on the charges of genocide and enforced disappearance. Bangladesh has formally requested India to return Hasina under a bilateral extradition treaty. And that's the latest on this edition of Race to Power on WION World is One. Thank you for watching.
Ready to dive into your daily dose of news?
Bringing you what's trending in the West and all that's setting trends in the East.
And all of this served up with a side of insightful banter.
We don't just bring you the latest stories.
We bring you your talking points for the day.
And while you do that, from the busy streets of New York, I will provide you with deeper insights on the developments through the course of the day in the U.S.
The show that keeps you ahead of the global curve. A conversation you'd want to be a part of. A place where news becomes an engaging exchange.
We bring you stories that impact your present.
This is World DNA. Join the conversation.
Technology redefines our future. Empower yourself with cutting-edge innovation. Discover, secure, dominate. Turn your assets into powerful tools. Enter the era of tokenization. Token Money Magnet by Kalp Decentra Foundation, the first of its kind. Learn, master, transform with every episode. Led by pioneers of the industry. Grab this moment to unlock the tokenization revolution.
WION Health Resort is unique, the only one of its kind. Experience the 4 paths of natural wellness: yoga, Ayurveda, acupuncture, and naturopathy. Each uniquely customized program improves the whole person to make every person whole. Come to WION Health Resort. Make your reservation at wion.com.
To bring the benefits of the Subhash Chandra Show to your educational institution, teachers and students, send an invitation to Juhi Jha at juhi@such.org.in.
Noor